So I was able to spend a little bit more time with the OM-5 Mark II with some pro lenses. I've got the 40-150 f2.8 here with the extender, the 2x teleconverter on this, and then I've got the 45 1.8, which is about 90 millimeters thereabouts, kind of a great portraiture lens. So I've had those lenses for the past couple weeks. What are my thoughts with the OM-5? Does Micro Four Thirds make more sense now with this kind of glass? Let's talk about it. All right, full disclosure, guys, I'm not paid or sponsored by OM Systems in any way, shape, or form. These are from the local distribution channel here in Singapore. It goes right back to them after this review. But this video is sponsored by Outdoor Photography Guide. More about them in just a bit. So with this video, I don't want to talk about specs again because I've already done that in my first impressions. I want to talk about the experience and where I see this camera fitting for some people and where it fits for me if I was to own it. Now, based on the photography that I like to do on my own, right? Sports, wildlife, outdoor photography, a little more fast action at times with this kind of setup. I believe for me, the OM-1 Mark II would be the optimal camera in this Micro Four Thirds setup. With that said, I'm gonna put my biases aside and talk about the OM-5 Mark II as it is and for who it's designed to be for. This is a lifestyle camera, guys. This is a camera that's gonna be for those out there that don't need all the bells and whistles of all these higher pro, top-end cameras, but they want a very small, compact camera to take with them on trips, travel, or even just daily photography that doesn't weigh so much. You're gonna get really good image quality. You got a lot of great options in glass, especially from Olympus or OM Systems, Panasonic, says you can obviously fit all these lenses on with the Micro Four Thirds mount. You have a lot of options. And for that, this camera does a great job. Again, it doesn't have the metal build of the OM3 and the OM-1 Mark II, but it's really robust in the hand. I do wish there was a grip on this, and to correct myself from my previous video, there is no external grip for the OM-5 Mark II at the time of this recording, at least from what I understand. For the OM-5, yes, but they have not designed one for the OM-5 Mark II, but I'm sure they will or somebody will do that because it makes sense. I feel like I need a little bit more grip on this camera. It's a bit small for me, but neither here nor there. Who it's designed for? It makes a lot of sense. But the build quality feels fantastic. The design feels really good. I love this sand beige color. Once again, I talked about it in my first impressions. And again, it's a really sharp looking camera system. And I actually pass this to my partner. Now, she doesn't know a lot about photography, but she goes with me on some of my, photography runs to the zoo or whatever have you. And so she uses a lot of the cameras. And she liked this because of the size. She goes, wow, this is really lightweight and it's small. I like this. And it does the job. You get really good colors coming out of this system. The image quality is fantastic for being a 20 megapixel Micro Four Thirds sensor. I mean, low light performance obviously will take a little bit of a hit, but nowadays, the issues that people had with that back in the day are a little bit different now in 2025 with all the software solutions we have from, Lightroom, for example, for the noise reduction software. I believe DxO Mark has it as well, Topaz denoise. So these issues really aren't a big deal in 2025, in my personal opinion. But again, everybody will have their preference in terms of how they want to edit their images, but those are just my thoughts. But when it comes to putting on pro glass for this, especially this lens, think about this for a second. With this setup here, I've got a 2x teleconverter. It's a 40-150. So essentially, if you double it up to standard, it's basically an 80-300 f2.8 without the teleconverter. On top of that, then it's a 160 to 600. I think I'm right, thereabouts, right? f5.6. That's a lot of length on a lens at this size. This is extremely compact, very easy to carry around. I went to the zoo a couple times. One time it was raining, didn't fare too well, but this thing was drenched, no issues because of course, the weather resistance in this camera system and the lenses. It's designed to be robust. It's designed to go through that kind of stuff. And I was in pouring rain, man. I was completely drenched and this was fine. No issues at all. It still performed. Obviously with the rain coming in front of the lens, it was a little bit challenging at times because it was focusing on the rain, but neither here nor there. It did perform in more heavier, like wet weather circumstances. But to me, that was the moment this clicked. Why Micro Four Thirds still has a big market. That I could have that kind of focal range, holding it one hand like this, and it's not going to weigh the bag down. If I put this in a full frame setup, it's a very big bag, and not everybody can carry it. So if I was gonna pair this to an APS-C system, it's still gonna be a bigger setup. Again, I know people are saying, and I even said it previously in another video a couple years ago, that I think Micro Four Thirds is on its way out. And yes, the system has matured. We're not seeing a lot of new lenses coming to the lineup as we see on APS-C and full frame especially. Fair enough, the market isn't as big. I think we all can agree to that. But it's a mature system, and the lenses that are out there now have been designed to optimize that 20 to 24 megapixel, Micro Four Thirds sensor thereabouts. I'm just kind of giving you a range because I don't know all the sensors out there in the marketplace. But to give you an idea, it's designed to maximize those sensors. And so there's really not a need to, come out with new lenses, maybe just different focal lengths. But I have seen obviously from, OM Systems or Olympus, longer, more sort of sports or wildlife oriented lenses. Yeah, and they come at a price point, premium price point, fair enough. But they're really good. Haven't tried them yet. Hopefully I get to one day with the OM-1 Mark II, but that's another video for another time. But at this size and the performance, I was pleasantly surprised. Now again, at the zoo where I was at, there's no animal tracking in the OM-5 Mark II, so I'm relying just based on the autofocusing system, and I think I got some pretty decent shots as you're seeing throughout the samples of these videos. Again, they weren't fast action, but it did the job. Face detection, eye detection, all worked relatively well with this, so no issues at all with that. But I mean, I've heard issues that this lens could be a little bit slow in acquiring focus. I didn't come across that too much, but again, most of the subjects I was shooting were quite still. But with that said, if you are looking to pick up a system like this to take it outdoors, to really maximize your outdoor photography, sports, wildlife, architecture, and you really want to hone your skills, you gotta check out today's sponsor, Outdoor Photography Guide. They have all the assets needed to really help you build your skill level, especially when it comes to outdoor photography. I mean, doing wildlife and sports, it's a different skill set altogether. A lot of people might be good at lifestyle and street photography, but once they get a system like this in their hands and they're trying to capture animals or sports or fast action, the way they compose, how you set up your camera system, the way you understand aperture and light and shutter speed and all that stuff in ISO, it's a very different ballgame. And the Outdoor Photography Guide is a great asset to help you along the way to really maximize your potential, especially in these verticals of photography, I may say so. I mean, it's definitely helped me out a lot because I always refer to those pros that understand how to maximize these systems. Because I test a lot of different cameras at a lot of different lenses, and I want to give you guys the best samples I possibly can to show the proof of performance of these camera systems versus just talking about it at a desk and not showing you any images. I want to really take it out there. So when I talk to you, I may not be a pro, but at least I can speak sort of on your level for those of you who do this for a living. And the Outdoor Photography Guide has been a great asset for me. So with that, guys, for the first 1,000 people that click on the link in my description below, you're going to get a full premium membership of Outdoor Photography Guide for only $1.49. That's it for the first 1,000 of you. So if you're interested in learning more about how to take a camera like this and maximize your photography and your skills outdoors from a variety of different verticals, from sports, wildlife, architecture, whatever have you, click on that link in the description below. The first 1,000, full premium membership for $1.49. Big thanks to Outdoor Photography Guide for sponsoring this portion of the video. And now back to the review. Now let's talk about a lens that kind of surprised me, and it's very, very tiny. This is the 45mm f1.8, which equates to about 90mm f1.8, converting it to full frame. So this is gonna be a portraiture lens. This is gonna be a great lens to isolate your subject, your person that you wanna capture, animal, person, whatever have you, and it's small, it's compact. You feel nothing on this camera system. It's super light, but the images you get out of this, impressive. Now, the autofocusing on this is a little bit slower, but this is a nice little lens to have. And obviously you see there's some blue tape on this because obviously it came right from the distributor, and I think it's a new lens, so I didn't take off the tape, obviously, because if they want to, do something else with it. But this is super tiny. And the image quality you get out of this is absolutely fantastic. And again, that kind of brings me back to my experience with the Micro Four Thirds system. Is how enjoyable it is. And I mean, look, I'm using the base model of the OM system cameras, right? I haven't even tried the OM-3 and especially the OM-1 Mark II, which I've mentioned in this video a couple times. But already I enjoy what this offers. And this would be a great camera to take with me on trips because, over the last month, I went to 3 places. I went to the US, Thailand, and Germany. And my camera bag for each of those trips was very heavy, respectively, because I had to capture video and photos and a variety of different things. But If I wanted something lightweight, easy, but capture the images I want to capture, it's nothing. It's nothing in weight. And yeah, I mean, look, it's not gonna have all the bells and whistles of all the full frame cameras out there, and the price point is different on the OM-5 Mark II, I get it. But going back to what I said earlier in this video and in my previous video is that who this camera is designed for, it does a great job. If you need more specs, you want a little bit better build quality, you want the better subject detection, autofocusing, maybe better image quality, then obviously you have the OM-3 and OM-1 Mark II, and then other options from Panasonic. But in the OM system family, this makes a lot of sense. Now I know people that own the OM-5 and the previous cameras are like, it's not much of an upgrade. Look, in my humble opinion, because I've never used any of those cameras, I can't talk about that and I won't. But just as somebody new to Micro Four Thirds, this has been fun. And isn't that what photography is about? It's not always about specs, right? It's about how a camera makes you feel when you pick it up and you take it out to capture images and subjects and people and whatever have you. Capture these moments. And for that, this camera does a really good job. Just to talk about some other features in here, obviously the computational photography stuff, the handheld photography, higher resolution, it all works really well. It's a little bit slow in terms of, rendering it out when you're handheld, so you just gotta be a little bit careful with that. The ND filters inside of this, as I mentioned, are fantastic. I tried that out previously. But for me, it's not about all these small features that makes this system so special. It's the whole ecosystem and the size and the image quality that comes out of it, which, look, I love higher megapixel. I love 100 megapixel, 61 megapixel. I love all those kind of cameras. But if I put a 20 megapixel image up online, no one's gonna really notice. They're gonna be like, they're gonna look at the composition, what I'm capturing, and they're gonna talk about that versus what camera did you use, what lens did you use. Yeah, for us here on YouTube, they will, but for the average person, not so much. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts here on the OM system, OM-5 Mark II, and these lenses. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you have any questions, hit me up. I'll try to answer those for you. Hopefully this gives you an insight. If you're new to Micro Four Thirds, should you look into this market or should you think about something else? I think it's worth a look. I think you might enjoy what this has to offer. Anyway, guys, that's it. Take care, and I'll chat to you all very, very soon.